beautiful Tuesday evening. They have not been able to say that very often here in Minneapolis. It's the Twins and the Cardinals interleague play. Tommy Pham, he's been electric this year. Joe Mauer batting leadoff for Minnesota. This should be a fun one because the Twins took 2 games last week in St. Louis. That's a chance for the Cardinals to get revenge. And hello there, everybody. Justin Kutcher alongside the Emmy Award-winning Tom Verducci. We've also got Ken Rosenthal downstairs. Now, Tom, we just saw Tommy Pham. He is a guy who a lot of people don't really know about, but he is incredibly exciting.
Well, he is. I love what his manager, Mike Matheny, said. Right now, Tommy Pham is as good as anybody in the league. The last 2 years, one of 3 players with 30 homers and 30 steals. The others are Mike Trout and Mookie Betts. What I love about him, he loves the big moments. Put runners on base, he's a .390 hitter.
Okay, so he's the center fielder for St. Louis. How about the center fielder for Minnesota? So exciting with his speed and his defense.
Well, there's nobody in baseball who can get after it in center field like Byron Buxton. And on the bases, he has not been thrown out in almost a calendar year, 28 for 28. But the Twins really need to get his bat going. He has won for his last 13 since coming off the DL. Can't wait for this one. We've got 2 center fielders who are a highlight package waiting to happen.
These teams are just about ready to get this one started. A look at the batting order for Mike Matheny and the St. Louis Cardinals, who enter this game with a record of 22-16. Tommy Pham will lead things off, followed by Matt Carpenter at first base. Jose Martinez will DH in the American League City. Marcell Ozuna will play left field and bat cleanup. Jed Jerko at third bats 5th. Paul DeJong, the shortstop, will bat 6th. Harrison Bader in right field bats 7th. Colton Wong at second bats 8th, and Carson Kelly will do the catching and bat 9th. And they will face Jose Barrios, who has lost 4 of his last 5 decisions. However, this guy, when he is on, he is tough to hit.
Well, it's all about his curveball. That's why the key is lost and found with Mr. Barrios, because he's lost that curveball the last 4 starts. It hasn't had that same east-west tilt to it. We'll look for that early tonight. Century mark. He's not going to go deep with pitches. Just about the 100 pitch mark is about as much as they will push him. And the crossfire delivery, we'll get a good look at that. And certainly the right-handed hitters, the Cardinals, will get a look at that.
And the defense behind Barrios in the outfield from left to right, Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton, who we just talked about, and Max Kepler. In the infield, at first base is Joe Mauer, Brian Dozier at second, A-Ray Adrianza is at shortstop, Eduardo Escobar at third, and Bobby Wilson will be doing the catching as Castro has been placed on the DL. Jason Castro, the catcher for the Minnesota Twins, on the DL, so we're going to see some Bobby Wilson tonight. Tommy Pham gets set to step in here to lead things off for the St. Louis Cardinals. Pham on the season, .319, 7 home runs, 17 RBIs. And the first pitch from Barrios is a fastball that misses inside.
You mentioned Wilson behind the plate. There's actually some analytical reasons for his start. See the fastball missing right there. You'll watch Wilson set a very low target. And he's able to steal some strikes low in the zone. With Barrios, he needs to get that fastball down.
2-0, ground ball to third. Escobar handles it and will retire Tommy Pham. How about the 4 keys to the game?
Well, let's think with some numbers. For the Cardinals, for me, it's about no gopher balls. Only the Astros have more games without allowing a home run than the Cardinals. And obviously, that tends to lead to a very good record. And for the Twins, 27 curveballs. That, to me, is the key for Jose Barrios. Last 2 years, he's 9-3 when he gets up to 27 curveballs. 5 games under when he does it. Now, part of that is because he's pitching deeper into a game. But it also tells you how important it is for him to have the feel for that pitch.
Starts Matt Carpenter off with a strike. You saw the numbers for Carpenter, hitting just .145 on the season, and this is what's amazing. We were talking about it when we were putting these lineups in. .145, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs. Not in the lineup is Dexter Fowler. He's off to a horrific start here for the Cardinals. And a strikeout for Barrios against Carpenter.
That's where Matt Carpenter has really struggled on anything velocity. Up, down, doesn't matter. He's just not hit fastballs. We're already seeing some really good fastball early on from Barrios. Really good late movement on that. A little bit of a tail to it.
As we see Jose Martinez step in. And the fastball is down low for ball one. But you look at the bottom of the order. You've got Carson Kelly, who's just 1 for 16. Colton Wong, 186. And yet here are the Cardinals coming into this game at 22 and 16.
Tells you a lot about their starting pitching.
Yeah.
That and the depth in this system. And again, today is so much of today's game is predicated on power, that for the Cardinals to defend the home run as well as they do, and that gets down to game planning and pitching, that's a huge advantage in today's game.
1 ball, 1 strike here to Martinez. Inside.
And you see Bobby Wilson back there really working fastballs, setting those low targets. They've got the numbers to show what pitches catchers are able to quote unquote steal, and he gets the low balls better than Mitch Garver. So the Twins pitchers who get the fastballs down work well with Wilson.
Now 3 balls and 1 strike to Martinez. I thought it was interesting how Paul Molitor talked about the analytics and how that influences who catches whom.
In the old days, you just rely on your eyes, right? Well, he looks like he handles the pitch down well.
Check swing. Adrian's at shortstop. And a 1-2-3 first inning for Jose Barrios with the Twins coming up. Joe Mauer, Brian Dozier, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar bats cleanup, Max Kepler, Logan Morrison will DH at bat 6. The bottom third, Byron Buxton, A-Ray Adrianza, and Bobby Wilson. They will face the right-hander, Jack Flaherty, making his 3rd start of the year with the Cardinals. Activated when they placed Adam Wainwright on the DL. And the first pitch to Mauer misses outside. The numbers on Flaherty this year: 0-1 with a 3.6 ERA, 10 innings, 5 walks, 11 strikeouts. And 1-0's inside, 2 balls and no strikes. What can we expect to see from Flaherty?
Well, you see already the delivery. It's kind of a classic drop and drive. He really uses his legs so well, the way he gets on his back leg over the rubber. When he needs a punch out, he's going to a slider. It is a really, really good slider. And is there a W, Pat? He's still looking for his first W. 8 career games, 7 career starts.
0-3 with 5.46 ERA in those 8 career games. 2 balls and 1 strike here to Mauer. Foul back, 2-2.
Well, this is where he likes to go to that slider. He can bury that underneath the left-hander's hands. When you think about sliders in the Cardinals, you think about Carlos Martinez, one of the best sliders in the game. Mike Matheny believes that Flaherty's slider is actually better than Carlos Martinez's when he's on.
2 balls, 2 strikes here to Mauer. Do we see the slider? He goes with the fastball and he misses at 97, so it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. You know, this is how much the game has changed. Joe Mauer is batting leadoff. You think about that. Joe Mauer, who was a catcher, now a first baseman, about 6 feet 5 inches, 3-2. Ground ball to second base. There's Colton Wong. 1 away here in the first.
I actually like that. First of all, there's nobody who takes more pitches in baseball than Joe Mauer. So you see up there, Jack Flaherty, they don't have a lot of info on him, scouting reports obviously. They just got to see 6 pitches. That's a start. That's what you want in your leadoff guy. And now with Dozier in the 2-hole, he's got more opportunities to hit with runners on base. Obviously more of a power threat than Joe Mauer. I actually like this setup better than the way it's traditionally been done here in Minnesota, where it's been flip-flopped.
Dozier 248, 7 home runs and 16 RBIs. Missing low and outside for ball 1. Just thinking over the course of history, they've got Byron Buxton, who's in the 7-hole, obviously struggled tremendously. You talked about it in the open. He needs to pick up his offense, but that's the kind of guy who you would think would be your prototypical leadoff guy.
He's not there yet. You know, last year, Paul Molitor started out with Buxton in the 3-hole. And that was more of dangling a carrot saying, I believe in you. I think this is what you can be. He wasn't quite ready for it. And they did have to move him down after that. But I think when he hits the ceiling, he'll be in the 3-hole.
Fastball catches the outside corner, 2-1. By the way, happy birthday, Brian Dozier. His 31st birthday today.
I forgot to wish him a happy birthday.
It's like I don't even know who you are anymore. No manners.
Because I'm always amazed. He's one of the best high fastball hitters. Flaherty's not going to throw too many balls up in the zone anyway. He likes the fastball down. But and I asked Brian, did you hit off the high tee a lot growing up to establish that you hit the ball so well? He said, no, I'm just short.
Missing outside for ball 4. A 1-out walk here to Dozier as we take a look at the defense. Behind Flaherty in the outfield, Marcell Ozuna in left field, Tommy Pham in center, Harrison Bader in right. At first base is Matt Carpenter, Colton Wong at second, Paul DeYoung at short, and Jed Jerko at third. Behind the plate is Carson Kelly. And now Flaherty will work from the stretch against Eddie Rosario. You talk about Dozier being a short guy hitting the high fastball. Reminds me of Dustin Pedroia.
That's exactly the comp I gave Brian Dozier. 2 of the best high fastball hitters around.
Pitches inside, just missing Rosario. 1 ball and no strikes.
No, Eddie's the anti-Joe Mauer. He loves to swing, but even that one's not going to tempt him. He is as aggressive as you will find. Doesn't matter if it's out of the zone. Tremendously confident. He feels like he can get the barrel on anything.
Flaherty has fallen behind all 3 batters so far here in the first inning. Popped up, foul, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rosario. Eddie Rosario, 285, 9 home runs, 27 RBIs. But Rosario is much better as of late. His last 17 games, look at those numbers. Seven of his 9 home runs coming in his last 17. check on Dozier, who's 2 for 4 in stolen bases on the season. What a night here in Minneapolis. To think they had snow here less than a month ago.
And rain last night. It was a little chilly, damp last night.
.76 degrees at game time. 1 ball, 1 strike for Flaherty against Rosario. Foul back to the screen, 1-2. You know, we mentioned the fact that Jason Castro, he's out with a torn meniscus for knee surgery. You look behind the plate for St. Louis, and it's not Yadi Molina.
Seems strange, doesn't it?
It does. Carson Kelly behind the plate. The 1-2. There is the breaking ball, and Rosario goes down swinging for out number 2.
Yeah, 2 types of breaking ball. It's the curve right here. Talked about the aggressiveness of Rosario. To me, that ball's never on the plate. That's a ball out of the hand. It's the ball over the plate. But again, against the hitter who wants to swing, nice job by Flaherty by expanding the zone.
So 2 away now for Eduardo Escobar. 274, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs. Dozier had the 1-out walk. Flaherty, in his last AAA start on May 9th, struck out 13 in 6 2/3 against Oklahoma City. So you know the guy can strike people out. And you can see why. I mean, his fastball 97, the wipeout slider. The numbers from that game: 13 strikeouts, no walks.
We've already seen him, the way he works that fastball, both sides of the plate extremely well.
Missing inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. It looks like he has some cut on that fastball right there. That was the 93, not the 97 that we're seeing him with a 4-seamer.
Yeah, a little natural cutting action when he wants to go into lefties. Run it away from lefties. A little running action.
Curveball missing. 2 balls and 1 strike. You can see how either concerned Flaherty is with Dozier at first base, or maybe doesn't have a ton of confidence in his own pickoff move, because he is holding the ball for a long time between pitches.
The Cardinals really emphasize defending the running game. Their pitchers are excellent at varying their holds, stepping off.
That time much quicker, as you mentioned, varying.
Yeah, and they're actually taught as well to hold so long. It's not just to freeze the feet of the runner, but you kind of get that hitter locked into a very uncomfortable position. What they like to do is hold it until the very last second before someone might call time.
Angel Hernandez at first base. The umpire looking. 3 balls and 1 strike. The count here to Escobar. Pops one foul. Giving a look is Jerko. This will reach the seats. And now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes, which means that Dozier will take off on this pitch, and we'll probably see Carpenter tell his pitcher, hey, I'm playing behind him.
And to me, the 3-2 pitch is the truth serum of baseball. It really tells you what a pitcher thinks of his stuff. And right now, this early, it looks to me like Flaherty has more confidence in the fastball than he does in that 2-strike slider.
There goes Dozier, 3-2 in the air, left center field. Tommy Pham on the run. He will make the catch to end the inning. No runs at the end of 1, and Marcell Ozuna will lead things off. No score, top of the second. Jose Barrios to face Marcell Ozuna. And Ozuna takes a strike. Ozuna, in his first year with the Cardinals, hitting .265 with 3 home runs and 20 RBIs. And it's 0-2. This is following his year last year with the Marlins, when he hit .312, 37 home runs and 124 RBIs. A monster year last year. Skies this one to shallow right center. In is Buxton, and there's one away.
This is really, really interesting watching Barrios work. We talked so much about that breaking ball. He's come out of the chute throwing 14 fastballs. Nothing but fastballs so far.
Well, you know what? Paul Molitor said to us that he's been impressed with how he has almost backed off the fastball, meaning not trying to overthrow it, make sure he throws it for strikes, and he hasn't had the confidence in the curveball.
No fastball here, though.
Well, there's a breaking ball.
Yeah, and again, great job by Wilson. Jed Jerko, unbelievable, like Brian Dozier, fastball hitter up in the zone. That's an easy strike one to get the take on the breaking ball first pitch.
And he goes back to it, and he's ahead in the count.
And that's a good sign, Justin. That is the east-west movement that's been lacking. It's just 2 breaking balls, but both those very good, especially that second one.
Tried to go for it 3 in a row to see if he can get Jerko to chase, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jed Jerko, 327, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs on the season.
It was really interesting talking to Barrios about that breaking ball. In between starts in the bullpen, he worked on throwing it harder. Usually you hear pitchers will say that about a fastball, let it eat. And he used that phrase when it comes to his breaking ball. You think of a breaking ball as a touch and field pitch, but he said, I've got to get back to being aggressive with it and throwing it as hard as I can.
2-2 goes with a fastball and just misses at 95. So 3 balls and 2 strikes here to Jerko with 1 out in the second. Goes back to the fastball on 3-2. So you said before that the 3-2 pitch is that tell pitch. Which pitch do you have confidence with?
Right. And you saw Wilson give Barrios the sign to shake that pitch, because probably Jerko's thinking 3-2 fastball. The shake is designed to put some doubt in the hitter's mind. He does the same thing right here.
Fastball is pulled foul. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Jerko much better on those fastballs up than down. To me, I think Barrios can stay with that fastball down.
Barrios looking for his second strikeout of the game. And he gets it. Back to the fastball.
Well, I love the way that Wilson gave the sign. You see him emphatically put the finger down, like, yes, we're throwing a good fastball hitter 3 in a row. Conviction in giving the sign, conviction in throwing the pitch. Love it.
2 away here in the second for Paul DeJong. Fastball missing low and inside. Paul DeJong, 262, 8 home runs, 18 RBIs. Misses with a breaking ball. Behind in the count, 2-0. Ground ball to first. Mauer's got it. He'll take it to the bag himself. And back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Barrios. On FS1 is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and by Progressive Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever. Max Kepler to lead things off here in the second for Minnesota. Takes the fastball inside. 1 ball and no strikes. In the air, center field. Pham again over to his right. There to make the catch, 1 away. And now that we have some time, let's check in with a third member of our team for the first time, Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Justin, Mike Maddox has been a pitching coach for the Brewers, Rangers, Nationals, and now the Cardinals. And he calls Jack Flaherty one of the more motivated guys I've seen. Flaherty has an extensive pregame routine. It's almost Trevor Bauer-esque. And what Maddox says is that he is preparing to be better than you on any given day. He's preparing to kick your butt. He's a keeper. He's got the it factor. He throws 4 pitches for strikes, and he's got the attitude to back it up.
Wow.
You saw him in the bullpen there working on the beginning of his delivery. Everything begins. You have to start on balance and on time, or else it's like a golf swing. If you don't start well, you're going to catch up and be off balance. The way he stays on his back leg when you saw him practicing the bullpen, that's as good as you're going to see. That's why I say he's a drop and drive guy. A little bit reminds me in terms of that staying in the back leg, like David Cohn. You'll see the way he really bends the back leg before driving forward to the plate.
1-1 off the end of the bat. Jerko, who moved over from third towards second base, will make the catch. And they're 2 away.
Now he's a tall guy, he's 6'3", 6'4", but watch how low he will be at the time he releases the ball. He's not in any hurry. He's going to stay over the rubber unbalanced. Now the back leg bends, drives to the plate. His release point is barely 5 feet off the ground. That's the 4th lowest of any starting pitcher in baseball. So hitters are seeing the ball coming from a place they don't normally see the ball come from.
So what you're saying is they do have a statistic for everything.
Believe me, the pitching coaches are all aware of these numbers, and now young guys like this who grow up with these metrics are aware of them as well.
0-1 to Byron Buxton, and now it's no balls and 2 strikes. Buxton's numbers so far this year: 167, no home runs, and 3 RBIs. Just a .433 OPS. Breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Just to give you an idea, Justin, the average pitch is going to be released from about 6, a little more than 6 feet off the ground. So he's a foot lower. So think about that as a hitter, where the ball is coming from a different spot than you're going to see most every other night. And especially as the Twins are, when you get your first look at a pitcher, it could take not just 1 or 2 at bats, it could take 1 or 2 starts before you adjust to where the ball is coming from.
With that said, his mechanics are good, so it's not anything herky-jerky. Buxton to right field. Bader is there, and it's a 10-pitch inning here for Flaherty. We're through 2, still no score. Still no score as we enter the third inning. Barrios has retired all 6 men he has faced. He'll face Harrison Bader leading off in the third. And Bader squares to bunt, pulls it back, and takes the fastball for a strike.
Not a bad idea. He's got good, very good wheels. Escobar was behind the bag at third.
258, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, breaking ball, and there is the first hit of the game for the Cardinals. A leadoff single for Harrison Bader off the end of the bat.
That was one of those north-south breaking balls. Watch, there's not much movement here, going the opposite direction here, and it stayed up in the zone.
Leadoff man on base for Colton Wong. Bader is 4 of 6 in stolen bases on the season as they check on him. Pitches up high for ball 1. Colton Wong, 186, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. Last year, he hit 285. Again, another guy in this Cardinals lineup who they're just waiting to get going. There goes Bader from first as Wong fouls it off.
Wow, a hit and run.
Yeah.
You know,
That's one way to start him, to get him going.
It might have been a straight steal there because you just don't see the true hit and run much anymore, especially against a swing and miss guy like Barrios. We talked about Bader's speed. I mean, I really like the Cardinal outfield defensively. Really 3 center fielders out there, and you get a chance to see Bader's running speed right here on the base paths.
Not going. The 1-1 is inside. 2 balls and 1 strike here to Wong.
That's the pitch you want to throw to Wong. I mean, Justin, you mentioned Carpenter struggling, Fowler struggling, Wong struggling, all struggling off fastballs. And unlike most left-handed hitters, you can get him out on fastballs down and in. I think he's a better hitter with the ball away from him.
Back in safely is Bader at first base.
Here's what I'm talking. How about this? This is the lowest averages against fastballs in the league, and you've got 3 Cardinals on that list. So you'd think the team would be struggling, right?
That's what's amazing, to be 22-16 at this point. A tapper back to Barrios. He thought about going to second. Instead, he'll take the out at first, and that was the right call. The MLB At Bat mobile app brings every baseball moment to your favorite devices. Catch it all season with the free MLB.tv Game of the Week, Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. 1 away, Bader at second for Carson Kelly. Kelly is just 1 for 16 on the season.
Not often, if you're a catcher in the Cardinals system, that you get a run at the major league level. And so far, Kelly and Pena 3 for 29 since Yadi Molina went on the DL.
You know, you think about it, both Yadi Molina and Joe Mauer came up around the same time. Would you have guessed Molina would have had the longer career behind the plate?
No. Still with the same team they came up with.
Mauer won batting titles as a catcher.
Asked Joe about hitting leadoff, and he said, I'm just glad I'm not a catcher anymore, because with the pace of play rules, the clock between innings, he said, I don't know how guys get their gear off and get out there if they're leading off the next inning.
It's a valid point. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kelly. A look back to second. Wow.
Franchise players. It's just amazing when you look around the stands and you see all the Joe Mauer jerseys. It shouldn't be surprising, but generation has grown up in this town. Big fans of really their local boy, Joe Mauer.
2022 career hits for Joe Mauer. Two-one is outside, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Good at bat here by Kelly.
And this has got to be frustrating if you are Barrios. You've got a guy who's 1 for 16 at the plate, and Tommy Pham on deck, first base open. You don't want to walk him here.
No, this is not a pitch around situation. Just the fastball command just gotten away from him a little bit here. And you saw him walk off the mound there. A little visit with himself.
3-1 back up the middle. This will score Bader, an RBI single for Carson Kelly, and 1-0 St. Louis on top. So the lack of command for Barrios cost him there.
Yeah, I give Kelly a lot of credit for getting to an obvious fastball count, as we mentioned, not pitching around him to get to Pham, and this is middle fastball. But the work it took to get to that pitch led to that result.
First RBI for Carson Kelly. And with Bader's speed, you knew that was an RBI. So now Tommy Pham, who grounded out to third base his first time up, steps in. And they start him off with a breaking ball first strike.
Yeah, I would think now second time around you'll see a higher percentage of those breaking balls from Barrios.
Remember, Barrios retired the first 6 men he faced, gave up a leadoff single to Bader. Fastball swung on and missed. No balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2 goes back to the breaking ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jose Barrios lost his last start on May 10th in Anaheim. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. And he gets a strikeout there. Strikeout number 3 as he went to that slider.
Yep, second time around. He's got a better feel for that breaking ball. This is exactly where he wants to throw it. And again, the east-west action. Good tip-off that he's feeling good about that pitch. Now going back to where this inning began with Harrison Bader with that base hit. Very rare this year to get a leadoff man on against Jose Barrios. He's as good as there is about making a 3-out inning a 2-out inning.
Shift is on here for Carpenter. And he takes the first pitch fastball, first strike at 94.
Check out these numbers.
I'd say those are pretty good.
Well, they say it's a game of first, right? First strike, first out. You start an inning at the first batter getting an out. Run expectancy goes way down. Cardinals got him that time.
Carpenter fouls it back out of play.
Yeah, talking to Matt, you know, he told me that these days off that he's had here, essentially 3 days off, it's a mental break. He said it felt like an all-star break. You know, he thought April was rough, but he thought he was hitting the ball well. And then it got inside of his head where he's trying to rescue his batting average, trying to beat the shift that he always sees. Too hard, trying to hit home runs over the shift. So to get 3 days off, he said it was just about clearing my head, get back in the cage, and going back to really fundamentals.
Carpenter the other way. Rosario in front of the warning track will make the catch. But St. Louis strikes first. An RBI single by Carson Kelly. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Well, this summer, the 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 with every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event is just 30 days away right here on Fox and FS1. A-Ray Adrianza takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0. The shortstop hitting .229, no home runs and 3 RBIs. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. It was a quick second inning for Jack Flaherty. Now working with a 1-0 lead. This one's ripped to right field. Bader coming in, has to play it on a hop. And a leadoff single for A-Ray Adrianza. Leadoff man on, Bobby Wilson coming up, and let's check in with Ken.
Justin, Bobby Wilson, a study in perseverance, spent all of last season in AAA with the Dodgers, then considered retiring at age 35 after he failed to make the Twins out of spring training. He's married, he's got 3 small children, 6 years old, 4 and 7 months. He spoke with Paul Molitor, bullpen coach Eddie Guardado, and said, listen, if I can't play, just tell me and I'll go. And they said, no, we think you can contribute. He stuck around, and he told me yesterday, hey, I thought I was done in 2013. Well, I stuck around and here I am.
That's awesome. I love those type of stories. So cool. And when you hear those type of stories, you can't help but cheer for a guy like that.
Yeah, and again, we talked about some of the analytics that influenced his start tonight. And I love the fact that those kind of things are being valued with data. There's a place in the game for someone who calls a game, the way he guides a pitcher through a start, the way he prepares for a game. Ooh,
well, they just picked off Adrianza at first base. A good move by Flaherty. And it was a big lead.
Well, Flaherty's such a good athlete, such quick feet on this move. We talked about how the Cardinals really emphasize defending the running game. Watch his feet. For a right-handed pitcher, it's all about how quick you can make that turn. It's about footwork. And he just had Adrianza frozen right there. Late getting back.
First pickoff of the season for Jack Flaherty in his 3rd start of the year. And that erases the leadoff single. No balls, 1 strike to Wilson. And it's 1-1.
You know, now with nobody on base for Wilson, a guy who doesn't run well, the infield can play so deep. Look how much range they can cover now. The runner on first, shorten up a little bit more, double play depth. It's going to be hard for him to get a ground ball through the infield.
2 balls, 1 strike. The count here to Wilson. Good breaking ball there by Flaherty.
It took a little off the slider here, sort of in between his curveball and slider. Typically he's going to throw a slider upper 80s. That was lower 80s.
2-2 fastball is down low at 95. 3-2 now to the 9-hole hitter. The payoff pitch goes back to the slow curveball and gets him. 2nd strikeout for Flaherty.
Well, we talked about those 3-2 pitchers being the truth serum. This tells you what he feels about his breaking ball now. He shook to get to that pitch. Tremendous confidence. Most of his strikeouts in this young season have been on that breaking ball.
Well, Mauer grounded out to first base to lead off the game for the Twins.
You have to throw a strike here.
He does. He obliges.
Joe almost never swings at the first pitch. Maybe with a runner on second, he might ambush somebody. But he is very comfortable hitting deep into counts.
Well, he gets that chance right now, facing an 0-2 count. A 3-time batting champ, 6-time All-Star is Joe Mauer, and the 2009 MVP. Fights it off. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. The 0-2 to Mauer. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
One thing about Joe Mauer, 2 strikes, 1 strike, no strikes, doesn't matter. He is not going to pull the ball. Bader is basically playing like a right-handed pull hitter. He will not hit the ball over here in the right field corner.
He won't hit the ball anywhere this time as he strikes out to end the inning. We head to the 4th, 1-0 St. Louis. The grounds crew is taking every last second to make sure the field is perfect. Top of the 4th here at Target Field. It's 1-0 St. Louis. And Barrios facing Jose Martinez starts him off with a breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Justin Kutcher alongside Tom Berducci and Ken Rosenthal here on FS1. A midweek game, a beautiful night here in Minneapolis. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Was that the first changeup we saw from Barrios?
You won't see many of those. Right on right changeup.
Fastball misses. 2 balls and 1 strike. Wilson puts down the sign. And he puts the target there, and Barrios hits it. 2-2. Breaking ball fouled back, and a fan makes a nice play. No bobble, nothing. Hug?
And
Give
no
me a
glove
hug
either.
Okay, kiss will do. They just met. The 2-2 fastball is fouled off of Wilson.
Nice job by Martinez. Oh, got a piece of Wilson.
And Scott Berry trying to give Wilson some extra time.
I mean, this fastball is exactly where he wanted to throw it. The pitch before that, the breaking ball, was exactly where he wanted to throw it. Martinez was able to get a piece of both
and foul it exactly where Wilson does not want him to go, between the pads, under, to hit his shoulder. And this 2-2 breaking ball swung on and missed. Strikeout number 4 for Barrios.
Oh, that's just nasty. I mean, that's as good as breaking ball as you're going to see here. Watch the sweep on this pitch. It's not just the tilt, but the east-west action on it. Perfectly located. And he's got to be feeling good about that pitch right now after 4 starts, wondering where it was.
Starts Marcell Ozuna off with a breaking ball. Foul tips, 0-1. Oh, and 2. Let's check in with Ken.
Tom, you often work down in the dugouts like I do, and I saw something tonight I have not seen before. The Twins pitching coach Garvin Alston accompanying Barrios into the dugout, shouting, "The champ is here," like a cut man at ringside.
I love it. Whatever it takes.
So here's my thing. If there's a visit to the mound, does Barrios go, "Cut me, just cut me"?
He comes out with the bucket, the towel.
Oh, look at that. Goes to the breaking ball again. Back-to-back strikeouts here for Barrios. And Marcell Ozuna frustrated with himself in that at-bat.
That was a beautiful rainbow. He took a little bit off that one. Not often you see Ozuna out in front. He actually looked back like, what was that? La Máquina. That's the nickname for Barrios, the machine. He's such a hard worker. He really pushes himself, so I can see why the pitching coach would want to get him amped up. He likes to pitch with emotion.
Another breaking ball, hard hit by Jerko to third. Escobar recovers in time to make the play, and a 1-2-3 inning work by Barrios. We're through 3.5, 1-0 St. Louis. Brian Dozier leading things off here against Jack Flaherty in the 4th. Takes the breaking ball for a strike as he showed bunt. Dozier, one of 2 base runners in the game against Flaherty. He walked in the 1st inning. Fastball, 94, 0-2. Dozier in the air, left center field. Pham calling off Ozuna. And there's one away here in the 4th. It's the Monster Energy All-Star Race, Saturday on FS1. $1 million is on the line as NASCAR's best drivers match wits in the winner-take-all battle. It all happens at 8 Eastern, pre-race at 5 on FS1, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. It happens in Charlotte, and it might be the most exciting race of the year. One away now for Eddie Rosario, who struck out his first time up. First pitch swinging, taps one. There's Flaherty, underhand flip to Carpenter, 2 away. Mike Matheny, he talked about his starting pitching. They've had injuries to their starters, and he says it's a credit to the organization, the depth. Flaherty, Gant, Reyes is on his way back.
And apparently he's in a big hurry. Hit 100 last night with 12 punch outs. I mean, think about it. The Cardinals, yeah, Wainwright goes back on the DL. Carlos Martinez, this would have been his start, so Flaherty gets this one. But the Cardinals have more homegrown players on their roster right now than any team in baseball. 14.
I mean, look at the numbers by the starting pitchers this year for the Cardinals.
Yeah, this is, again, what jumps out at me. Defending the home run.
You just saw Luke Weaver and Michael Wacha in the dugout. 2-0 to Escobar. 2 balls and 1 strike. Escobar is 1 for his last 21. So a chance here for Flaherty to work another 1-2-3 inning.
Escobar needs to slow him down. Flaherty's been in a rocking chair. I don't think I've seen him walk off the back of the mound yet.
1 for 21. How do you like that? There's a hit. Now he's 2 for his last 22. A 2-out single for Eduardo Escobar, and that almost took the glove off of Jack Flaherty.
Take it back right where it came from. He almost lost his glove. You're right.
Two outs, runner on first here for Max Kepler. 1-0, bottom half of the 4th inning.
I really love Flaherty's mechanics, his arm swing. Very loose, athletic. There's not a lot of strain or effort. The only thing I don't like is the way he spins off that heel, so when the ball is hit back to him, he's not in position to defend himself. He'll be closed off with the glove behind him. Now, that's nitpicking, I get it, but it shows up on balls like Escobar's single.
Inside again, 2-0 here to Kepler. Kepler flew out to center field his first time up. Just 22 years old is Jack Flaherty. He'll be 23 in October. When you talk about his mechanics, his build, 6'4", 225, just strong legs. It's easy for him to get to 97. Kepler pulls it foul, 2-1.
Drafted out of Harvard Westlake in LA. First round pick. A couple of his teammates also first round pick as pitchers. Max Fried to the Braves. Lucas Giolito now with the White Sox. All within a 2-year period.
I hope they won some championships.
Well, this guy, his junior and senior years, went 23-0. Harvard Westlake actually was a merger of 2 schools, the Harvard School for boys and the Westlake School for girls. In 1989 they merged together. Been around a long time. You think about, there's a lot of actors and actresses who came out of that school besides pitchers. I'm going back to my childhood days. June Lockhart, Lost in Space. See, you're too young. Elizabeth Montgomery. She was Samantha Stevens in Bewitched.
Go on.
Are you kidding me? Well, how about Mark Harmon? You've heard
Oh,
of him.
yeah, of course.
Candace Bergen.
Didn't Mark Harmon also play football at UCLA?
He did.
See? Come on now.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Candace Bergen.
Candace Bergen. Wow.
When I get to anybody you've heard of, let me know.
I've heard of these people now. Now you're getting into like the time that I actually know who you're talking about. Candace Bergen, Murphy Brown.
There you go.
See? Don't test me here. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kepler. I mean, Harvard-Westlake is kind of like my high school. Hopkins, which merged with Day Prospect Hill, which was the girls' school and the boys' school, but my school was founded in 1660.
Wow. So you had like founders of the country who went to your school?
Yeah, but we didn't have really any of the famous actresses or actors or athletes really to come out of there.
Did you have a hyphen in the name? Was your school hyphenated?
Not after the merger. It was prior. There goes the runner on a 3-2 pitch, and it's a foul ball. We'll do it again at 3-2.
Yeah, you know, Mount Flaherty has shown control of both the fastball and the slider. This is where, as a hitter, you know, you're not guessing. You have to hit off the fastball, but you can't eliminate a pitcher at this point.
I think Kepler's thinking about Murphy Brown. He's like, wait, what was that list? Who do I know?
He's going back to the same pitch. Fastball in.
And again, it's pulled foul, and that's one where you don't want to make the play if you're the fan.
Yeah, those last 2 pitches were just perfectly located. You're not going to get hurt in there. That's as much as Kepler can do. Close enough to the zone. He needs to swing at it. Does he go 3 for a quarter with the same pitch? The answer is
yes. Carpenter backing up almost to the grass. And this time a foul to the third base side.
Yeah, Flaherty knew he got away with that one.
How about Flaherty got the first 2 outs on 4 pitches. The last 2 batters, he's thrown 12. Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up, and now we see Flaherty walk off to the back of the mound.
Well, in this day and age of launch angle, everybody wants to get the ball in the air. Max Kepler, he has a very flat stroke, and he does not want to change it. So he's tough to get the swing and miss.
Another 3-2. In the air to right field. This one is a foul ball. Angel Hernandez was down the line and had the hook on it.
Let's see how close. Carpenter had it all the way. Angel, if you need any help, Matt Carpenter's got your back.
Scott Berry behind the plate. Angel Hernandez at first. Paul Nauert at second. DJ Rayburn, the umpire, at third base. And I tell you who right now is the most tired of everybody is Eduardo Escobar, because he's had to go on each of these 3-2 pitches. Then he just went from first to third and was going to score on that. And now he's like, you know what? Actually, I need to retie both shoelaces.
Sure you do.
I also need oxygen.
Yeah, that's a 30-second timeout right there. We got a little Brandon Belt at bat brewing here with all these foul balls.
Our statistician, Ed Spita, just said, not yet Brandon Belt territory right before you said that.
And he's staying stubborn with the heater in.
Pops him up. Carpenter coming in. Carpenter will make the catch in foul territory. We head to the 5th, 1-0 St. Louis. Audi. A look inside, bat and barrel, new this year here at Target Field as Paul DeYoung took the first pitch for a ball from Jose Barrios. 1-0. Top of the 5th inning. St. Louis leading Minnesota. And a foul ball here, 1 ball and 1 strike. DeYoung grounded out to first to end the 2nd inning. Breaking balls outside, 2-1. Fastball just missing. And now 3 balls and 1 strike to DeYoung. The only run of the game came in the 3rd for St. Louis. It was after Harrison Bader led off the inning with a single. Came around to score on the RBI single by Carson Kelly. And now DeYoung swings and misses, 3-2. And the 3-2 fastball misses for a leadoff walk, the first walk of the game by Barrios. And let's go back to the studio in LA for a game break. Here's Chris Myers.
Right fielder number 48, Harrison Bader.
All right, thanks, Chris. After a leadoff walk, here's Bader.
Let's see if the Cardinals can turn that leadoff runner into another run, where they did 3rd.
Fouled back. No balls and 2 strikes. And you saw Barrios, how frustrated he was, I think, on 2 counts. 1 for walking the leadoff man. And 2, he thought he may have had strike 3.
Yeah, he did miss the plate, though. He was going for that fastball down and away. Wilson tried to steal it, but that was a ball. Nice job by Scott Barry up right on it. Home plate umpire.
Oh, 2 fastball climbing the ladder. And down goes Bader. That's strikeout number 6 for Barrios.
Second baseman, number 16, Colton Long.
A little elevation. Wilson with the high target. Bader can't stay off it.
1 out now for Colton Wong, who tapped back to Barrios in the 3rd. I've always been amazed when you speak to managers and they have players who are struggling, or the team might be struggling. They never get too high or too low. And you had talked about Carpenter. Was he starting to press? Is Wong starting to press as he fouls it back our way? No balls and 1 strike.
Well, Matt was, I'm going to say, almost eloquent in describing to me the mental grind when you're slumping. He said even if you have an off day, you're thinking about the slump. How do I get out of it? What's wrong? It never leaves you. And the grind, the mental grind of going through that is much harder than the physical grind.
Pop foul, 3rd base side. Escobar, does he have room? He does, to make the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. Flipping the Switch is sponsored by Boost Mobile, and we go back to the 3rd inning. Harrison Bader, that was the first hit first base runner of the game for the Cardinals against the Twins. And then 2 batters later, it's Carson Kelly driving him in with an RBI single. And that so far is the only run of the game. It's flipping the switch by Boost Mobile.
Neither one was actually scalded. Right, 2 soft singles with a productive out in between. The pitch that was really mishit by Colton Wong, which moved up Bader to 2nd base.
the exit velocity of both might not equal one of Giancarlo Stanton's line drives.
Hey, it's funny you mentioned exit velocity. It's another thing that Carpenter was talking about. The Cardinals were actually showing him metrics that said, listen, you're okay. You know, you're hitting a .170, but we're looking at how hard you're hitting the ball. All these numbers show that you're okay. Keep doing what you're doing.
Nice stop there by Bobby Wilson. 1 ball and 1 strike. At what point do you think in a season, if a player is struggling and their average is under 200, do they start thinking, you know what, forget about what my average will be at the end of the season. I can't worry about getting it back to what I'm used to hitting. Let me just start doing something well.
I think we're there. You know, we're a quarter of the way through the season now. And it's hard to really move your average a lot in a short period of time.
Kelly to straightaway center field. Buxton got a great jump on the warning track, makes the catch. Still 1-0 Cardinals as we go to the bottom half of the 5th. Download the app, play for free, start your streak, and compete to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS. Bottom half of the 5th inning, still 1-0. Cardinals leading the Twins. And the first pitch to Logan Morrison. As we welcome you in the broadcast booth, Justin Kutcher alongside Tom Berducci, and Ken Rosenthal's down on the field. But Tom, big news today in baseball. Robinson Cano suspended for 80 games for violation of the drug policy. Robinson Cano.
That's as big as a name as we've heard. If you want to go back to when suspensions first started coming down in 2005, Manny Ramirez, Rafael Palmeiro, but Robinson Cano failing a test. 8-time All-Star. I believe a guy with Hall of Fame numbers already. You're talking about 2,400 hits, 4th highest OPS among second basemen all time. Unfortunately, you can't say you are shocked anymore.
Logan Morrison pops one to Jerko for the first out. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask Ken this question. What does it mean? You mentioned Cano being a Hall of Fame type caliber player. I mean, with his statistics, his numbers at second base, they're unbelievable. Does this take him out of Hall of Fame consideration?
Well, as we sit here today, I would say yes, because no one who has failed to test has been voted in and hasn't really gotten close. But remember this, 5 years left in the contract, 5 years after he retires. So a decade from now, will that same pattern still be in place? Things could change, and there's some indication, and Ken can speak to this as well, that voting patterns are changing. So I don't want to say the door is closed, but as we stand here today, he may have cost himself the Hall of Fame.
Ken, what's your take on the Hall of Fame situation and just what it means for baseball that a guy like Robinson Cano is suspended 80 games without pay?
First off, it's a stark reminder that this sport is not free of performance-enhancing drugs and will never be free of performance-enhancing drugs. It just shakes your faith. It shakes your faith in Cano. Was this a one-time thing? Is this something he's done for a long time? And it does shake your faith in the sport somewhat. Now, as for the Hall of Fame, it's a different equation. We'll talk more maybe later about that.
Adrianza was trying to say it was a foul ball. It wasn't a 1-2-3 inning. We will talk more about it. Our Budweiser game summary. Cardinals lead 1-0, top of the sixth. Carson Kelly with his first RBI this season. It's been a pitcher's duel between Jack Flaherty and Jose Barrios through the first five. A-Ray Adrianza is okay. Looked like he twisted his ankle trying to get out of the batter's box, and that's why he went down. But we teased you, and we really teased Ken Rosenthal about Robinson Cano. So as Tommy Pham is in 0 for 2. Ken, let's get your thoughts. You were talking about it when we went to break about what this means, Robinson Cano being suspended for 80 games.
Well, as for the Hall of Fame question, and Tom touched on this, it's really difficult to predict what might happen 10+ years from now, especially when, as we've seen in recent years, the voting block is getting younger, and younger voters generally, not to a man or woman, but generally are more forgiving of players who use PEDs. Now, the difference is we have yet to see a player who actually was suspended under baseball's drug policy get elected, and that's the difference. A guy like Bonds, a guy like Clemens, they weren't suspended ever, even though people have strong suspicions about them, so some voters are forgiving of them. But for someone like a Manny Ramirez, or now a Robinson Cano and Alex Rodriguez, it's a different equation entirely.
It is. I mean, those are great points right there, and for the Seattle Mariners, you think about their situation and what happens to them. I mean, Robinson Cano just got injured, so he's on the DL. They were going to be without him for 4 to 6 weeks or so. Now you're out without him for 80 games. If you happen to make the postseason, he can't play.
I'll tell you how big of a hit that is for the Seattle Mariners. I was talking to Scott Service yesterday here, the manager of the Mariners, and he talked about when the team found out during the game Sunday that Cano had suffered a broken bone when hit by that pitch. He said we essentially gave up that game. We lost that game because we were just knocked back on our heels. He means that much to the team. So the team with the longest playoff drought in all of baseball, which built the team around Cano and the money they're paying him, now is to go ahead the next 80 games without him.
Robinson Cano signed that 10-year, $240 million deal with Seattle when he left New York. He will essentially forfeit $12 million. And the question I think everyone's going to bring up, as Barrios has now struck out back-to-back batters to open up the 6th inning. Ken, you said that you will never be completely clean. But how can you prevent this stuff from happening when they're superstars?
I don't know that you can. And it's a competitive sport. We all know that. Players throughout the game's history have sought an edge, and clearly performance-enhancing drugs are an edge. One thing I often think about, Tom, and I'm curious your perspective on this, is just what you mentioned, how much it hurts your team. Look at the Minnesota Twins. They lost Jorge Polanco. He's serving his suspension for 80 games. They're a different team without him. He came on offensively last year. He's a good defender. They missed that as well. So you would hope peer pressure plays a role here, and to some degree over the years it has, but I don't know that we'll ever be rid of it.
Yeah, you're right. I totally agree with that. I mean, the game, even as we've and have over the years toughened steroid penalties. Back in 2005, the penalty for first offense was a 10-game suspension. Now it's 80. It's human nature. It's the competitiveness of these athletes. Think about Robinson Cano. We talked about the contract. He's not signing another contract.
Nope.
So it's not a matter of, hey, I need to improve my numbers to make more money. It's just human nature. It's going to happen. People want to find an edge, and sometimes you get caught. And that, to me, is the silver lining to this. That when you take these tests.
Martinez deep to right field. Kepler going back at the wall, makes the catch. What a play by Max Kepler. Bobby Wilson leading off in the 6th. Hughes one off the end of the bat. No balls and 1 strike here against Jack Flaherty. Let's go back to that beautiful catch by Max Kepler. StatCast powered by AWS. He covered 52 feet. Unfortunately, we don't have the impact against the wall provided by StatCast, but Jose Barrios certainly liked it.
Made a great adjustment to that ball. That was working away from him. All about footwork there as well. He had great footwork going back on that ball.
0-2 up and in. Oh gosh. We heard the story from Ken Rosenthal earlier about the perseverance of Bobby Wilson. And that one, that'll make your heart skip a beat.
Well, really not expecting that from a guy who's been around the plate all day. Ball just slipped out of his hands like a bar of soap. We got helmets down, bats down. The players call a yard sale.
1 ball, 2 strikes here to Wilson. I'd go breaking ball. He went back inside. Little check swing, foul ball. You know it's bad when even the catcher is back there like, oh man, that was close.
I feel your pain.
Wilson battling here right now. 1-2. Quite a pitcher's duel here at Target Field tonight.
It really is. It's actually the youngest pitching duel in baseball this year. 22-year-old Flaherty, 23-year-old Barrios.
Little blooper. Back on the outfield grass is Carpenter. 1 away. Saturday, it's an afternoon of baseball on FS1 as Josh Donaldson and the Blue Jays host the Oakland A's for a Major League Showdown. It all begins at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on FS1 or stream it live on Fox Sports Go.
You know, the other day the Twins had Fernando Romero, 23 years old, against Shohei Ohtani, 23 years old. This one a little bit younger, 22 and 23.
Always prepared.
But you know, Justin, you watch this matchup here and you can't think about the bullpens. Now, how long can we get to see these young guns go at it, right? Romero, he's got a great arm. I talked about at the top, they generally don't go much beyond 100 pitches.
Well, only 76 pitches at this moment for Jack Flaherty, 82 for Jose Barrios. And I'm somebody who can't stand pitch counts. Wish starters would go farther. 3 balls and no strikes. You know, I know the numbers support it, and you and I have had this conversation before. 3rd time through the order, all that stuff. But when a guy has it for a game, use your eyes. Look. 3-1. You disagree?
No, I'm agreeing with you, but the way the game is, I talked about Barrios. He's never gone over 108 in his career. Flaherty's certainly not going to throw more than 105 pitches in this game. I don't care how well he looks to your eye.
Flaherty hasn't allowed a runner in scoring position tonight. And that was a nasty breaking ball on 3-1 to Joe Mauer.
That was such an impressive pitch.
Mauer has struck out and grounded out in the game. Now the payoff pitch. Line drive, 1 hopper, glove by DeYoung. Had Mauer played perfectly, and that was one of the 2 hardest hit balls of the game against Flaherty.
Well, you called it, Justin.
Eduardo Escobar.
That is about positioning. Look where he's playing. Mauer hits the ball up the middle as well as anybody in baseball. He grew up teaching himself that's where the hits are. In today's game, that's not true any longer. We talked about how he doesn't get out front and hit balls to the pull side in the corner. Even inside pitches, that's where he wants to take the ball. Now with Dozier up, DeYoung much more in a traditional shortstop position, maybe a little bit shaded to pull side. The increase in data and analytics has almost always been on the run prevention side.
Breaking ball, 1-1. Dozier walked and flew out to center field. And if there's one guy in the lineup right now that you'd think could tie this game up for Minnesota, my money would be on Dozier.
I'm with you. I mean, he can lose it at any time. Career home run leader in this ballpark. Really, nobody's been close to him. But again, his strength is on balls up, and watching Kelly setting targets low against Dozier all game. Another one.
Boers in that fastball at 93, 2-2. What a night for baseball here in Minneapolis. After all the snow in the month of April, all the snow outs. You mentioned the makeup game last night against Seattle. Lays off the 2-2. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Eddie Rosario on deck. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count here to Brian Dozier. Flaherty has retired 6 in a row, 10 of his last 11 at 85 pitches here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
He went through every pitch right there. Fastball away, fastball in, slider, curveball. That's a good sign because they're all working right now. Breaking ball. Why not? 3-2.
In golf, that would be a penalty. Double hit.
Hit it twice. Nice job by Dozier. That's a really good 3-2 slider. That's his strikeout pitch. Back to the fastball away. Keep it down. That's what Kelly's telling him.
Ground ball. DeYoung in the hole. Long throw across. Not in time. Infield single for Dozier. You think he sensed a hit?
Hitter can smell it. He knows this is in the hole.
It's my birthday. I've got to get a hit.
I like the way he took a second look. All right, he caught it. Now is he going to throw it? He is going to throw it. Let me find another gear.
Two outs, runner on first for Eddie Rosario, who is 0 for 2. A strikeout and a ground out. And the Cardinals are just getting some guys up in the bullpen now. One ball, no strikes to Rosario. Brett Cecil is up in the pen for St. Louis.
Well, so many lefties in this lineup. You knew Cecil would figure in somewhere in this game.
And timeout asked for by Rosario and granted by Scott Berry. And this is the first trip to the mound by either team, as Carson Kelly wants to go out and speak with Flaherty.
Yeah, that last pitch that Flaherty threw was one of the few pitches that was non-competitive. It came out at 88. It looked like a sinker to me that just, I'm not saying he's getting fatigued. He still looks strong to me, but man, he's been on point all night. That when there's a non-competitive pitch, it stands out.
One ball, no strikes to Rosario in a 1-0 game, bottom of the 6th inning. Two balls and no strikes. There's a lot of movement on that pitch.
It really is. We talked about the aggressiveness of Rosario, and now Flaherty's at a point where he does need to challenge him, at least get something on the edges of the strike zone.
Fouled away, 2-1.
That's a good sign for Flaherty. Look at his pitches by innings, very economical. Got a good fastball hitter in a fastball count and got plenty of the plate on that pitch. And Rosario still couldn't square it up. indication of that movement you talked about.
I was intrigued by the 5 pitches in the 5th inning.
Especially since the third batter, Adrianza, swung at the first pitch.
2-1, ground ball to first is foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. With Cecil heating up in the bullpen. You've got the switch hitting Escobar on deck. Kepler in the hole. You have to be thinking this might be the last batter for Flaherty. Remember, he's still looking for that first major league win. 0-3 in 8 career games. This is now his 9th career game and 8th start. 2-2, hit to right field. Bader goes over, taking the turn at second is Dozier. He'll get to third. Runners on the corners, 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Fastball in the zone. This time he didn't miss it.
First time the Twins have had a runner in scoring position tonight. And here comes pitching coach Mike Maddox. This summer, the 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 with every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event is just 30 days away right here on Fox and FS1. When you look at the splits of Eduardo Escobar, from the right side, he's 281, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. From the left side, 272, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs.
Yeah, this is Flaherty's game right here. Good visit by Maddox. He loves to put his hand on the shoulders of the pitcher so he can feel the pulse of the pitcher. I'm not sure you can find a pulse with Jack Flaherty. He is Mr. Cool. It's a good visit because to me, this is his last hitter. So why not give a little bit of a timeout, give a breather, but most importantly, talk about how you want to pitch Escobar. Leave nothing to chance.
The 25th pitch of the inning coming up. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. And he starts him off with a strike. You could see Carson Kelly encouraging him. Escobar singled back in the 4th, has also flown out to center field. Dozier had the infield single. Rosario single to right. And Escobar chases what would have been ball 1. Instead, it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Well, there are many moments. It's a 2-seamer with great movement. There are many, I call them graduation moments for a young pitcher, where you move up a level little by little. This is one of them right here. 3rd time around the lineup, pushing 100 pitches, deep into an inning. Can you execute one more pitch, knowing it's your last batter?
This is now his career high in pitches as a major leaguer. 95th pitch coming. 0-2, misses high and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Little fatigue in that pitch. First time I saw him get underneath the fastball with the release point.
He's never thrown more than 5 innings in a major league start. Here he is, trying to complete 6 and trying to leave with a 1-0 lead.
Back to the breaking ball.
Good job by Escobar to foul it off and stay alive.
But that fastball before that, those are the kind of warning signs that pitching coaches look for. They know the pitchers so well. If there's a little bit of oil leaking, any kind of red light comes on the dashboard, they know it. And he may have to go to that slider to get out Escobar. double up on the curveball.
Escobar able to lay off. Nice job by Kelly to block it. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and you could see he's got more confidence in that breaking ball than he does in the fastball right now.
Yeah, the fastball's down a tick. Not the same mechanics or command on the fastball. That's a good miss, though, with the breaking ball by bouncing it.
30th pitch of the inning coming up. Off the end of the bat to center field. We're tied up at 1. A huge turn by Rosario, able to get back to the bag at second. RBI single by Escobar, 1-1 game.
A little bit surprised he went back to the fastball because of everything we talked about. The leakage with the fastball throughout this inning, batter by batter. It's a nice job by Escobar to go down and get it.
How about that turn by Rosario? He was halfway to third base. Whoops! Matheny's out. Flaherty's night is done. He knows he can't win it. He still could lose it. Kepler will face the lefty Cecil. Brett Cecil comes in a tie game, bottom of the 6th, 2 outs, runners on first and second. This is his 4th appearance of the season. 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, no walks, and he faces Max Kepler. And he starts him off with a strike.
A good changeup. He'll take the ball in the glove with the changeup grip, but on the rare relief pitchers you'll come in with multiple pitches to get a hitter out.
Kepler 0 for 2 on the night. And it's back-to-back off-speed pitches by Cecil. 0-2. Luke Gregerson is throwing in the bullpen for St. Louis. The 0-2 ripped foul. Our dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tire. Watch this. Jose Martinez to right. Kepler against the wall makes the play. So he makes the defensive play of the game, and now he has a chance to drive in the go-ahead run. Another 0-2 is outside this time. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
When they talked about the footwork of Kepler, you'd expect that. His parents were ballet dancers over in Germany. Here's the splits. Much better this year. A small sample size, I get it, but that's something that he has been working on. Priority in spring training, improve against left-handers. He's facing a tough one right here.
1-2 in the air, shallow right. Bader coming in. He's there, makes the catch, and that will end it. So we're all tied up after 6 at 1. Start the 7th inning. We'll face Marcell Ozuna now in a tie game, 1-1. He goes around on that first pitch breaking ball. Remember, Ozuna struck out on a breaking ball back in the 4th and turned back and looked at Berríos like, what was that? 1 ball and 1 strike. So I go for the ultimate announcer jinx right now for Berríos.
Well, what's that?
He has not allowed a hit since the 3rd inning.
Well, you know, we talk about all the metrics and 3rd time around. He actually gets tougher to hit the 3rd time around than he does the 2nd time around. And you're seeing it right here. And his stuff has sharpened up as this game has gone on.
2-1, ground ball to 3rd, backhand play by Escobar. 1 out, time for a game break. Let's go back to LA and check in with Chris Myers. Thank you very much, Chris. And that's unfortunate news, to say the least, for Arizona. 24-17 entering today. And A.J. Pollock, a valuable member of that team.
You know, his power has been really career high this year. Always been a good hitter. He's gone next level.
One-two, and down goes Jerko. 9th strikeout of the game for Jose Berríos.
Yeah, we talked about young pitchers, these little moments that make a graduation. Well, today was not graduation day. All these hits here, 2 outs, nobody on base, all with 2 strikes, all on fastballs. There was not a put-away pitch in the bunch to get Jack Flaherty off the field with a lead. Nice job by the Minnesota hitters, but taking advantage of 2-strike fastballs.
So not a graduation for Jack Flaherty. How about Jose Barrios, who has struck out 9, and by my calculation, all of them swinging. 1 ball, 1 strike to DeYoung. DeYoung was the last batter to reach base for St. Louis, which came back in the 5th inning, a leadoff walk. In the air to center field, Buxton over to his left. And it's another 1-2-3 inning. Stretch time here in Minnesota. 1-1 ball game. Over to Jose Barrios. Barrios says, I'm good. I'm good. He's thrown 93 pitches, 60 for strikes, 14 swing and misses. He threw 107 pitches in his first start. He has not been over 100 since.
His career high 108, but clearly it's still his ball game. And the way he's throwing, I'm on board with Skipper.
We're all on board. We're all in agreement. Cecil to face Logan Morrison, and Morrison takes the pitch inside for ball 1. Logan Morrison has popped out twice to Jed Jerko, who's the starting third baseman, but he's over there playing more towards second. Pulled, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Luke Gregerson is up again in the Cardinals bullpen, the righty. You've got Byron Buxton on deck, a switch hitter, Adrianza, and Bobby Wilson, a righty, to follow.
Now, I know Morrison hit 38 home runs, but you would love to have, at least in your toolbox, the possibility of bunting for a base hit. It's a tie game. You're leading off the inning, and the left side of the field is entirely open. Again, he's a home run hitter. I get it. But just work on it so that in this sort of situation, it's at least an option.
I agree with you. Well, he gets into one to right field this time. Bader turns. This one's off the base of the wall. He doesn't need a bunt. He'll have a stand-up double to open up the 7th. What was that, Mr. Verducci? That's what Logan Morrison saying.
You talk about hitting a ball to the right spot. Instead of the ball bouncing back to Bader, it actually hit the bottom of the wall and stuck, just wedged in there perfectly to get an easy stand-up double.
And that is going to be it for Brett Cecil.
Yeah, pitch left up. Watch where this ball hits. You know, what are the odds it just stops right there?
So a man in scoring position to open up the 7th. Gregerson coming in a tie game. Luke Gregerson is in to face Byron Buxton, who you would expect to bunt here, but his last sacrifice was August 13th of 2017. He shows bunt, pulls it back, and he takes the pitch for a strike.
You know, hard to tell what he was doing there, and not much conviction behind that one. Generally, I'm not a big fan of bunting to the bottom of the order. Adrianza and Wilson behind him. But I think it's an order right here. Cardinals certainly defending possibility of a bunt.
This time he pulls it back for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. StatCast powered by AWS. The infield, as you said, anticipating a bunt at first base. Matt Carpenter. He's hoping to be able to field it and throw to third to Jed Jerko.
Well, Buxton's got to square around earlier and commit to this if he's trying to move the runner over. Better.
And he bunts it back to Gregerson, who has one play, throws it wide. In to score is Morrison. Down to second base goes Buxton. And that's why bunting is good.
Much better job squaring around. You're not surprising anybody at that point. Commit to the bunt, and then once that ball is on the ground, Gregerson knows how fast Byron Buxton gets down the line. And that clock in his head is telling him to hurry, hurry, hurry. And this is what happens when you hurry.
You brought up a great point. If you're going to do a sacrifice bunt, square early, and that time he did.
Much better technique right there. An excellent bunt.
Do you do it again right now with Adrianza? And Gregerson wanted to test it and find out. He turned and looked back to second base, and Buxton, who has phenomenal speed. I'm almost wondering, with Jerko playing in at third and Buxton's speed, can he steal third base?
He can. He's 28 for 28 in the last calendar year. He can take a base anytime he wants.
The ball gets away from Kelly down to third. The tag not in time. Buxton gets there.
What a slide. Difficult play for Jerko to get back to the bag. Backpedaling, finding the throw from Kelly, and then finding the runner. And Buxton snuck in the back door.
A wild pitch.
Reach for the far point of the base, make Jerko reach as far as he can. You see the difficulty because expecting bunt to get back in position to tag.
So now the infield is in. 1 ball, no strikes to Adrianza. And he rips one down the right field line. And that's an error by the fan. Sorry. No high fives. No high fives. You had the glove. You got to make the play.
Do you give him the ball now? He dropped it, and she did. Ball girl gave it to him. He's going to tell everybody, I made a great catch last night at the game.
And then they pull up the highlights and they say, no, you didn't. A check swing on a breaking ball. 1-2 the count.
Well, yes, turnabout is fair play. We saw Logan Morrison last night against Seattle throw away a bunt, leading to a loss. And this time he scores when Gregerson throws away a bunt.
Remember, Adrianza was squaring around 2 bunts, so he was going to give himself up to get Byron Buxton over to third. Backdoor breaking ball misses. 2-2. Ken, we saw the speed of Buxton on display right there. What's your take on it?
Well, remember, he's playing with a hairline fracture in his toe, and he told me yesterday that the pain is tolerable. And he also said that it's going to be 6 weeks before it's entirely resolved. So if he's hurting, you wouldn't know it.
Ground ball to first. Buxton has to stay at third with no outs. The right play as Carpenter retires Adrianza.
Yeah, it's the right play with no outs, not having the contact play, but you have to put it on now with 1 out.
Right.
You know, your situation now, infield still in. Wilson can get a run home with an out. Fly ball to the outfield. But now, especially with Buxton's speed, you have to be more aggressive on the contact play.
And Carson Kelly will come out to speak to Gregerson. Enhance your game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets, enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
I mean, we saw the way Buxton influenced Gregerson on that bunt. So if you're a St. Louis infielder, infield in, I don't care. Buxton on third. Now you're anticipating he's running on contact. Again, the speed is going to force you to hurry and make mistakes.
I'll be curious to see how far Jerko plays away from the bag, how much of a secondary lead Buxton can get.
Well, Wilson more of a pull hitter, so you do have to sort of guard that 5.5 hole over there. Gregerson, sinker slider, traditionally is going to put balls on the ground. Safety squeeze.
Huh. That means that Byron Buxton, A-Ray Adrianza, and Bobby Wilson have all at least attempted to bunt. 3 batters in a row for Paul Molitor's Twins. I love it.
Is that still allowed?
This is great.
Gene Mauch would be proud.
In the air to left field. Back is Ozuna. He turns. Gone! Home run, Bobby Wilson. perseverance pays off for Bobby Wilson.
Drip, 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 boom! The slider, just a cement mixer, middle of the plate for a guy looking to get the ball to the outfield anyway. Lifts it all the way out of the park.
A pitching change for the Cardinals, but it's now 4-1 Minnesota here in the 7th. Third time through the lineup has been the charm for Minnesota. And how about this? The last home run for Bobby Wilson, September 21st, 2016. 601 days. Yeah, you can celebrate.
Big league debut, April 10 years ago. And that was career home run number 17.
And now Sam Tuivailala is in to face Joe Mauer with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3 runs in the inning so far. Two balls and no strikes. The numbers on Tuivailala: 3.68 ERA. Out of the bullpen. 2-0 to Mauer, who's looking for his first hit. 0 for 3. 2-1. Tuivailala, I can't say his name enough. It's fun to say. Began his professional career as a shortstop. And Mauer pulls one into right center field. He takes a wide turn. He'll hold up there. A single for Mauer here in the 7th. Rally in the 6th, scored the tying run on the RBI single by Eduardo Escobar. It was 3 straight 2-strike hits against Jack Flaherty. And he looks at the first pitch strike. Brian Dozier turning 31 today. You know whose birthday it also is? Another Twins icon, Justin Morneau.
Wow.
His 37th birthday. And a couple of Hall of Famers, John Smoltz and George Brett.
It's good company right there.
No kidding. Wow. But no balls and 2 strikes here to Dozier. In the dirt, nice stop by Kelly.
Now, this is what I like about this combo of Mauer-Dozier rather than Dozier-Mauer. You know, Mauer doesn't have the power that Dozier has. Very good on base percentage guy, sees a lot of pitches. I want Dozier batting with runners on base more often. Over the last 3 years, nobody has hit more solo home runs than Brian Dozier. So for a pitcher, now you're working Dozier more ABs with runners on base out of the stretch. Knowing a mistake, he could go yard.
1-2 to left. Coming in is Ozuna. And back to first base goes Mauer, 2 away.
But I know you're a big fan of sacrifice bunts. I can hear the excitement in your voice there.
I am a
And
big
really, that was the key play in this inning.
It was.
At a time in baseball where the sacrifice is least popular than ever before in history.
And to me, baseball has been around for a long, long time. There are certain times and certain places for everything. That was the right time and place for a sacrifice bunt.
And well executed. Let's give Buxton credit. First sacrifice this year, but he did have 5 last year.
And with a guy of his speed, he should be able to bunt. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Eddie Rosario. Tuivalala in relief of Gregerson. 98. So again, Tuivalala began his career as a shortstop. Strongest arm by a shortstop that you've seen, who would you say?
I mean, you want to go back to Sean Dunston?
That's who I was thinking.
I mean, it looked like he was pitching, though. He always loaded up. Full windup.
Fouled straight back, stays 1-2.
The guy I'm impressed with today, this may surprise you, is Didi Gregorius of the Yankees, because he's able to throw the ball so hard without being in proper position with footwork.
And accurately, too.
Very accurate.
Breaking ball, staying alive is Rosario.
How did he foul off that pitch?
Another foul here by Rosario.
I'm laughing because he's now covered pitches from his shoe tops to his neck. Those last 2 pitches. As they say, a good bad ball hitter.
One, 2, and he doesn't foul this one off.
Right down the middle.
95. But 3 runs in the inning, 4-1 Twins. FS1 is sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. And by the Lincoln Motor Company. What a night for baseball here in Minneapolis. Top of the 8th, Harrison Bader leading off against Barrios. We saw him after the 7th tell his manager, Paul Molitor, I'm good. Guess what? He's really good now that his team has taken a 3-run lead. At 94 pitches, again, 107 is his high for the season. Fastball is low and outside, 1-1. Bader has the only run in the game for St. Louis. Came back in the 3rd inning. And now it's 2-1.
Now this is where you have to slow yourself down. It was a long inning. They got you a lead. You know you're working your last inning. One pitch at a time. Don't be in a hurry.
Check swing, fouled back, 2-2. Addison Reed is up in the bullpen for Minnesota. And this is, I don't know if you agree, but a time where maybe a short leash for Barrios.
Oh, he's batter by batter.
Yeah.
He will not throw another pitch out of the stretch. Somebody gets on, he's out of the game.
Goes with a fastball and freezes Bader. That's the 10th strikeout of the game and the first looking. Time for an update. Let's go back to the studio. Here's Chris Myers. That is awesome. The former Cardinal, Stephen Piscotty. Foul down the third baseline. This will make it to the seats for Colton Wong. But, you know, kudos to the front offices of both the Cardinals and the A's for pulling off that trade to get Stephen Piscotty back home to Oakland so he could be with his mom.
Absolutely. It was an amazing story.
No balls, 1 strike here to Wong. High and outside with a fastball, 1-1. The Cardinals took the lead back in the 3rd inning. Breaking ball fouled off. The Twins, they tied it up in the 6th. And then got 3 more in the 7th. The 1-2. And that hits Colton Wong. So he lost him on a 1-2 pitch. A hit by pitch.
Well, we'll see what Paul Molitor does here. This has been a lineup that has set up well for Barrios. 7 right-handed hitters in the lineup against him.
Greg Garcia is going to pinch hit here for Carson Kelly.
That's
and
right.
There's Paul Molitor.
Yep. Difficult ask to get him back in the stretch.
Barrios on a 1-2 pitch. He knows it. He's upset about that, but he'll get a standing ovation by the fans here at Target Field. Pitching change in the 8th, 4-1 Minnesota.
7 right-handed hitters in this St. Louis lineup. The way he releases the baseball, difficult for anybody, but especially for righties. He's all the way on the third base side of the rubber, and he has that crossfire delivery, so the ball actually starts from behind a right-handed hitter. That offset that he creates. Now, his first year, 2 years ago as a rookie, he pitched from the first base side of the rubber and had an 8 ERA. And it was Bert Blyleven, the Twins' former great, who said, hey, with your stuff and your arm angle, you should pitch from the third base side of the rubber, create more of an angle against all hitters, but especially against right-handers. And here's the offset. That means how far you are from the center of the rubber. He's as offset as almost anybody in baseball. And Jake Arrieta, you saw the name there. That's a comp for me. Crossfire delivery, good breaking stuff. And that ball just continues to work away from right-handed hitters. And boy, did he have it working tonight.
Well, I guess you should give credit, as you said, to Bert Blyleven. That's a circle me Bert for Barrios. Addison Reed, the pitcher. Garcia, the hitter, and a foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, this, you can tell the stuff that Barrios brought to the mound tonight. Why the Twins are so excited about where he is and where he is headed.
One, 2, slapped foul the other way. Will stay 1 and 2. Nice play by the ball girl down the left field line. And this rotation with Jose Barrios, maybe he gets back on track with this one. Ken, what can you tell us about the rotation for Minnesota?
It's been a long time since people have been excited about a rotation here in Minneapolis-St. Paul, but now might be the time. We saw Barrios tonight. Fernando Romero has had a spectacular debut. Irvin Santana will be back in early June. Lance Lynn figures to only get better, and they still have reinforcements at AAA. Zach Littell, who they acquired from the Yankees in the Jaime Garcia trade, and Steven Gonsalves, another of their prospects. So for the future, the Twins might be able to put a pitching staff together to complement their young position player core.
And you know, Kenny, what stands out to me, and looking at Jake Odorizzi there and watching Barrios and Romero, it's the strike 3 call. Addison Reed is swing and miss stuff that this staff has. The Twins, it's been a long time since they've had swing and miss starters.
10 strikeouts on the game for Jose Barrios. The first there for Addison Reed on the first batter he faces. And those 10 strikeouts by Barrios, 1 off his career high 11, which he has done 3 times. But 2 outs here in the 8th now for Tommy Pham, who fouls the first pitch back. Pham 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and a ground out. Greg Holland is warming up in the Cardinals bullpen. A late time called by Scott Berry, granting Tommy Pham the timeout. Addison Reed was just about to deliver that ball, and some people would say he should deliver it.
Well, it's the cat and mouse game. Again, he's holding the ball so long, kind of freezing the hitter.
No balls and 2 strikes. How about this? In 3 games so far, this is almost the completion of the 3rd game. The Cardinals offense against the Twins. 8 for 81. 2 runs scored. That's a .99 batting average, and it just got worse as Pham strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. 4-1 Minnesota. Bottom of the 8th, 4-5-6 in the order for Minnesota. Eduardo Escobar, Max Kepler, Logan Morrison to face Sam Tuivailala. Escobar had the RBI single in the 6th to tie the game up. First pitch in there for a strike. A new catcher into the game for St. Louis. Francisco Pena comes in. Carson Kelly was pinch hit for by Greg Garcia in the top of the 8th. No balls and 2 strikes. Francisco Pena, the son of former catching great Tony Pena. Whose arm is stronger?
Tony Pena can still throw it really hard. Throw some serious BP.
High and outside, 1-2. I got to watch Francisco here. Can he get the leg out? Throw a seed back to the pitcher if he doesn't like what the pitcher just threw. Pop foul down the left field line. Ozuna gives it a look, but that'll be a few rows deep, and that fan makes the catch, and he could say, hey, I got that one. I don't know about clapping for yourself, but
not an ideal situation with Molina on the DL where you have 2 catchers and you're going pinch hit for them, as we saw Mike Matheny do. And these shorter benches with everybody going to 8-man bullpens, nobody behind him is a 3rd catcher.
One-two goes upstairs with a fastball for the strikeout. That's back-to-back strikeouts for Tuivailala, going back to the 7th and 1 away here in the 8th.
Tough to catch up with that right at the top of the zone.
Kepler takes the first pitch for a ball. Foul ball. The starters tomorrow, Miles Michaelis against Lance Lynn, the former Cardinal.
Well, the Cardinals do not like coming to Minnesota, do they?
You going back to '87 right now?
That's when it began, the World Series, right? They lost all 4 games in the Metrodome. 2-10 in Minnesota. They have the worst record in any major league city for the franchise.
Kepler to right center field. Pham on the warning track will make the catch. It was funny because we were speaking before, and here you go.
There you go, 2-10. And by the way, my ears are still ringing from being in the Metrodome in 1987 at the World Series.
Tim McCarver said he lost hearing, I think, in the '91 World Series.
It was so loud in that building.
Willie McGee.
You're supposed to say, how loud was it?
Sorry, how loud was it?
The Twins bullpen catcher, or bullpen coach, had to literally keep his foot on the bullpen telephone because you could not hear it ring. He could only feel it vibrate. It was constant noise.
Swing and a miss. We'll flash back to 1987. It is Willie McGee.
There's Willie.
Ken Herbeck at first. Watch out. 2-1. I can remember when Willie McGee got traded from the Cardinals to the A's.
Yes.
And he still had enough plate appearances to qualify for the batting title.
To win the American League batting title. That's pretty cool. It's like posting a number, right? And letting the field go chase you. Well, nobody caught him.
The leader in the clubhouse. Ground ball into the shift. Colton Wong from the outfield grass. We'll go to the top of the ninth. The closer, Fernando Rodney, will be coming in. Is in, trying to lock this one down as Minnesota leads 4-1 over St. Louis. Rodney on the season 1-2 with a 3.29 ERA. He does have 7 saves. In his career, he's got 307 saves, which is the most among active major leaguers.
You saw also 7 walks. That's the issue with Rodney. You got to be very patient with him. He can walk himself into trouble. Fastball, great changeup with the same arm action, relies on that arm speed to fool hitters. About a 10, 11 mile an hour difference between fastball and change.
Rodney will face Matt Carpenter, Jose Martinez, Marcell Ozuna. So he has to go through the heart of the order for St. Louis to close this one out. He does have a 3-run lead. The shift is on. 3 men on the right side of the infield for Minnesota with Carpenter at the plate. 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a fly out to left, and the first pitch misses for ball 1. One ball and 1 strike. You really couldn't ask for much more from Jose Barrios. 7 1/3 innings, just 2 hits. He gave up that run, a walk, and 10 strikeouts.
That was a great changeup right there.
Jose, you 6 feet, 6'6".
Tremendous arm speed. Very tough to read that as changeup out of the hand.
He looks like he's 6'6", 6'7".
1 ball, 2 strikes to Carpenter. And he fouls it back, stays alive. 93 on the fastball from Rodney. So after that, he was on it. You come back with a changeup.
Yeah, that's a classic pattern. Change the eye level. Not seeing the same velocity in those first few fastballs from Rodney. He should be more mid-90s than low 90s.
There is the changeup. Lifted out to left center field. Buxton is there. 1 out. Let's go back to LA and check in with Chris Myers. All right, looking forward to that one, Chris. top of the 9th here. One away for Jose Martinez, who got robbed of extra bases by Max Kepler his last time up in the 6th. And the first pitch fastball at 93 in there for a strike. Martinez has also grounded out to shortstop and struck out in the 4th. Twelve strikeouts for Twins pitchers tonight against the Cardinals. Change up, pulled to third. Escobar, 2 away.
Well, remember how we started the night when we talked about keys to the game. Let's go back and see how we did, right? We talked about the Cardinals. Their key was what? Keep the ball in the yard, no gophers. Well, a big one by Bobby Wilson. And for the Twins, we talked about 27 curveballs for Jose Barrios. He gets to that number, he's really, really good through 33 tonight.
Wow. You were on. You were on.
Barrios was on.
Marcell Ozuna takes the first pitch for a strike. That's why Tom Verducci is an Emmy award-winning broadcaster, as is Ken Rosenthal. I'm just surrounded by trophies.
And we travel around with them, by the way.
Do you have to check those?
It's
or
tough getting them
on?
through TSA. Is that a weapon, sir?
No, I've got 4 of them here. Ed Svita was quick to point out he's got a couple as well. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Cardinals are a strike away from losing 3 in a row against the Twins this season. They lost 2 last week at home, and now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Marcell Ozuna. Rodney's 1-2 in the dirt. Good stop by Bobby Wilson, who had that big 2-run home run in the 7th inning. He was fired up, and rightfully so. 601 days between major league home runs for Bobby Wilson. 2-2. Ground ball up the middle. Adrianza behind the bag, and that will do it. 8th save of the year for Rodney. It's the 18th win of the year for the Twins as they take this one 4-1 over St. Louis. For Ken Rosenthal, Tom Verducci, and our entire crew, I'm Justin Kutcher saying so long from Minnesota. Now let's go to LA. Chris Myers, Nick Swisher, Frank Thomas, MLB Whip Around.